Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And we see them. And today we're going to have a pretty interesting show. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you want today's full show, be sure to check out the Dreamers Pro podcast that we have pinned below. So let me get into this topic here. Now, as you guys know, or some of you may know, Dan Le Batard used to work at ESPN. But ever since his departure, over the last, let me say, 4 to 5 months, he's become very, very outspoken. Now, it is important that I say this. It doesn't mean that Dan Le Batard wasn't always outspoken. And some people may say, wait a minute, where have you been? He's always been like this. So I'm not saying that. It's just based on what I've been seeing, right? Over the last few months, he's had some back and forths with various people in the media, but it really started when he brought on Stephen A. Smith to his show. And during that show, they were talking about a litany of things concerning the sports media world. But during that conversation, he said something that ended up becoming the linchpin to this kind of ongoing playful beef between him and Stephen A. Smith, which was basically when he said to Stephen A. Smith on his show, he doesn't like what him and Skip Bayless have done to sports media, to the sports media landscape, basically turning it into one big shouting match, right? That's what he said. And to be fair, during that conversation, Stephen A. Smith immediately pushed back on that assertion, basically saying, where the hell have you been? Like, what have you been doing all of this time, right? How can you talk about something that you yourself are participating in? And since then, they've been having this kind of back and forth where Stephen A. Smith responds to him and then he says something back and forth, says something to him as well. So what happened? The big news right now is a new shiny toy. And that new shiny toy is Undisputed, or the newly minted Undisputed, which now features an ensemble cast of Skip Bayless, Keyshawn Johnson, Richard Sherman, Michael Irvin. Yesterday I saw Emmanuel Acho, who also customarily works at FS1. So they have this ensemble cast there, right? And a lot of people were clamoring to see what this new show would look like, given the fallout that had taken place between Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. We all knew this, and a lot of people were interested, given the fact that Undisputed had this 2-month hiatus. There were various reports going out there saying that, they were finding it difficult to find replacements for Shannon Sharpe because so many people didn't want to work with Skip Bayless. There were other reports that, Nick Wright could be this person, could be that person. So many different things were being said at the time, right? So the show comes out. And in the first show, they generated a lot of views, especially on, especially on YouTube. I mean, if you go look at some of their views, a lot of their videos have at least, at the very least, 500,000 views. Because a lot of people were interested to see, what is this new show going to look like when these guys are finally back on television? So they had that thing, right? So what happened? After the show came out, we even produced the show on this. It seems like various people started to give their feedback. And one of these people was Dan Le Batard. And apparently, Dan Le Batard was not a fan of the show. And as a matter of fact, he thought that Skip Bayless is actually on the losing end of this entire thing, because now he ended up becoming a moderator of a show that he used to be one of the key contributors of. So what we want to do is play exactly what Dan Le Batard had to say about how he feels Undisputed has degenerated as it pertains to Skip Bayless, and then we're going to come back and give you guys our thoughts on what he had to say. So take a listen to that there.
You think this is the heel turn for Skip at the end of his
career?
No,
I don't think he knows what he just welcomed. I don't think that he understands. He told Keyshawn Johnson yesterday, you talk too much. And Keyshawn said to him, you didn't just say that to me. That's the first show. Keyshawn's, of the three that they're putting up there, I would rather have on my side as television personalities Richard Sherman and Michael Irvin. And Michael Irvin is a television personality in sports for all time. Whether you like him or not, he steals shows. He's willing to make a fool of himself and be really loud at a time that the greatest currency is, can you get attention? Millions of views yesterday for a show that nobody's watching in real time. They're watching it in clips. I mean, some people are watching it in real time, but to get millions of views is how Skip stays in the game. He's got Lil Wayne doing the intro song to what it is that they're doing on Undisputed. He took No Mercy. I thought that was Stephen A's podcast, No Mercy. Did Stephen A change the name of his podcast? Because Lil Wayne is... Why is there no mercy around the sports commentary? What are we doing?
No mercy, Dan. Come on.
It's a classic no situation. You know what I mean? The N-O versus the K-N-O-W. That's what Stephen A has is the K-N-O-W mercy. Lil Wayne is no mercy. N-O. Say it's like 2-2-2. We don't need to get into this.
What are you guys thinking about all of this?
Well, I'm thinking Skip Bayless is not happy with the first show. He might be happy with the views, but I think Skip plans on going out being Skip. I don't think he wants to share the microphone that much with anyone. Now he's doing it with three guys who are very, very good at this, but I don't think Skip wants to be made fun of. I think Skip still has plenty of hot takes to give. I think Skip wants to be the guy that dominates that show and will be the guy that dominates that show. Otherwise, he will get one of them fired. I believe that. I'm serious. It's Skip's show. I mean, he's the greatest ever at it, him and Stephen A.
I wonder what the show meeting was like off air after the first show, because
I'm certain he complained.
he, of course he did. And 4 is one too many, right? Like, why do they need Keyshawn Johnson? Like, 4 is too many. That's the first thing I would say if I were Skip. And the second thing is, Michael, I want you to be you. I love the bombast. Keep standing up out of your chair. Do whatever you have to do. But I need to be more a part of this show. I just have to be. You know, I don't need to dominate, but I don't want to be a moderator who barely speaks on my own show. So I think the second show is going to be the one that's interesting, and it's going to say a lot.
It's going to be all Skip.
Well,
Skip debating Skip.
That is today. But let me ask you the real question, because these people are very competitive, Stugotz, and it's hard to keep up. It really is. For Skip Bayless to still be doing it at 70, you almost have to be the hater who knows how to get attention, because that's the lane that he chose.
Sure.
And is still relevant in that lane. As his own executives are being quoted anonymously saying, Skip is no longer in charge here. Stephen A. is Skip's daddy, was the quote. The quotes coming from his own building are the word disembowel if he were to compete with Nick Wright in real arguments, not the performative wrestling stuff that this is. Skip Bayless, for better or worse, represents, Stugotz, the face that athletes think of when there's the media. They're not on my side. They're haters. They're not here to celebrate anything over the last 20 years. They're here to figure out how to blame me so they can make $1 debating it. He's the face of that.
I know he is, and he takes a great amount of pride, I believe, in being that face, and I don't think he's just going to let that go. Like, do you think he's going to let that go at age 70?
I don't think he knows what he's welcomed here. It's not.
I think he knows.
But he just ran off Shannon Sharp, Stugotz. That was a partnership that could have kept working, and Shannon Sharp didn't like the treatment.
So you heard what he had to say. Now, funny enough, we've actually produced a show around this, and we've been getting, it's kind of been a mixed bag of reactions. Some people are saying, I don't understand what people are saying. I enjoyed it. Other people are saying, you need to give us some time. And other people are saying, I just don't like it. Now, my personal view is the following. It's been hard for me to gain a sense of whether or not the show is good or not, because the topics that they have been discussing are not appealing to me. It's been very, very football centric. I think since the show debuted in the first 2 days, they've only had 2 NBA segments. The first one I didn't really enjoy, but that's just my opinion. Maybe some people out there probably will enjoy it. To me, it wasn't that entertaining because these are football guys, and I would have liked to see them get some NBA personalities and people that customarily talk about the NBA to talk about the NBA. So to me, it was very hard to understand whether or not this is a good segment. Now, I did hear Michael Irvin say something about Michael Jordan. We produced a show around this, and that let me know, okay, I'm not so sure if these are the right people to be talking about the NBA. So there's that. But for me, it's really hard to understand. I guess when the NBA season commences and there's training camp and all of these things are starting to unfold, then they start talking about basketball. Then I'm going to be able to understand, okay, these guys are giving good takes, or these are some ridiculous takes that these guys are making about the NBA. in terms of what he had to say about Skip Bayless, you know, basically being relegated to the corner and raising his hand and getting these big personalities, I think that Skip probably took the approach of, listen, I'm in my 70s. I still want to go out there and compete. We understand that we're not going to be doing the classic 2-man debating show with the moderator. We're not doing that anymore. And since we're going to be adopting this ensemble cast, it probably behooves me to take a back seat and allow these other personalities to shine. And therefore, people are getting a broader opinion, which may appeal to a larger audience base. I think at this point, people already understand where Skip Bayless stands on a plethora of issues. What people are looking for is to hear, what do all of these new people have to say about these issues that are being discussed on a daily basis. And if Skip Bayless went out there and tried to dominate each and every segment, I think that it may turn people off. And I think that this show made a concerted effort to be less combative, less nasty, because with him and Shannon Sharpe, they crossed the line a lot of the time. And this time around, I think they're actively, consciously trying to avoid having the same mistake repeat. You could tell. It's all kumbaya, it's all hugs, it's all kisses. Now, maybe it's still the honeymoon phase, and when the show goes and when time goes on, and they start really bringing up some contentious issues, maybe when the NFL season commences and things are really happening, then you're going to see people kind of showing their real color. But for now, I think it's a much more, not watered down, but you could tell that the show, everyone is on their best behavior at least for now. Skip, I think, is doing a good job being a moderator. And I think that, Skip is probably saying to himself, you guys probably forgot that I'm the godfather at this, and I'm going to show you guys that I can do other things apart from sit at a desk and debate back and forth with someone 5 days a week. But I guess we have to see. So the question is simply this to the audience. Do you think it's fair, or do you think the positions that Dan Le Batard took towards Skip Bayless, do you think they were fair? Or do you think that, listen, it's way too soon to be forming an opinion about this man and his show after they've only been on air for 2 or 3 days? And maybe we need to pump the brakes and give it some time for things to kind of really materialize, for us to really get a good understanding of whether or not this was a good show or not. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about those 2 questions that I asked you? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comment section, and we catch you guys on the next show. Peace.